All right. We have a big one from Ruben Jim.
Ruben Jim.
So this is going to take a second. We're going to cut this up into parts and answer the question. It's the longest question we've ever gotten. Should the NFL and NFL Player Association come together and agree on a solution to prevent or rather deter players from abusing or orchestrating their way out of contracts only to go where they want to go?
How would you police it?
I thought of a different way from not the team standpoint, but the player standpoint.
Yeah.
Add options to contracts because that's not a thing in the NFL. It's a thing in basketball.
Swing in baseball.
Yeah, like add player
I'm
options.
fairly certain they have player and team options in hockey.
Couldn't tell you.
Right? I think they do. Anyway.
Free agency isn't like a thing in hockey. It's like free agency is literally like just not a thing in hockey.
So with that is true. It's a much more, there's a lot more team control of players in the NHL, so it's probably not a very good comp. I like the NBA style option that Andy puts forth. I didn't even think of that one. It's basically brilliant. The only thing I think the NFLPA would bark at is I think they would hate the idea of team options, and I think they'd love the idea of player options. So I think they'd have to find some kind of medium. Maybe mutual options.
I mean,
I don't know.
You got to think about that. They're already fining players for not showing up. It's not like there isn't something. Every practice they miss, they get fined $38,000. Like it's not like they're not doing something about it. It's that the players don't care.
So this is obvious, and I mean the rest of the question will make it even more obvious. But like, this is obviously a reaction to the Antonio Brown thing, maybe to a lesser extent.
Melvin Gordon,
something. Well,
Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell.
See, but here's the thing. Like, Le'Veon Bell wanted a contract.
Julio Jones, technically.
He didn't get one. Well, the Julio Jones deal that was brilliant. Julio Jones did some great negotiating to get a $66 million payday immediately and defer the rest was brilliant, because you take that $66 million, if he's smart, he invests it, and he'll make a lot more money on that $66 million rather than getting it over the course of 4 years. Anyway, I mean, I guess that would be what they're doing now. They're fining. Next part of the question: did Antonio Brown only do all this to get more traction on social media due to Hard Knocks, and when it was over, washed hands and moved on to further his personal agenda with his own brand? That might have been like a secondary effect. I don't think that it was a motivation of his to build some kind of a social media following or like his YouTube channel or anything like that. I don't think that it really benefits him. That would be a drop in the bucket. I really don't even think Antonio Brown, this might be controversial to say, I don't think he's a very marketable athlete. Because, and hear me out on this, he has a good look. He's obviously very successful and things like that, but he's got a lot of things going on off the field, things that are, later we'll talk about it, allegations, or things that actually did happen, like throwing a sofa off a balcony and almost hitting a little kid.
I mean, think he's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that makes him less marketable, and therefore I just don't think that this was anything to do with branding. Do you find all of this unethical, Andy?
No, I don't know.
I don't want to use the word unethical here because that's a really strong one to me. Unethical means like you're stealing something. At the end of the day, the Raiders never had him to begin with. I think that's really how I look at it. And like, you can't lose something that you never had. He didn't make much money from the Raiders, if any.
It's not like he picked the Raiders, though. He got traded there.
That is true.
He didn't sign there.
That is true. But he did sign that extension. So it's like kind of sort of he did. I don't know, man. I just don't think it's unethical.
The dude also has a bleached mustache.
Yeah.
I've said this every week.
Yeah.
I think people should check if he has CTE. I don't know if you can do that on a person that's alive, but
you can't. You can't. That's part of the problem with CTE is you don't know
I
if someone
assume
has it
he
until you
has
inspect it.
CTE and he's going crazy.
So I may have said this on last week's show, but I don't think I did. I think I told my wife over the weekend. I said if I'm the NFL, I would pay money to buy his brain if he were to pass away in like 50 years or whatever. If the NFL's still a thing, I would want to buy that brain for fear of somebody getting their hands on it and proving that CTE is a thing. Because like his behavior is pretty out there, and it does match up with a lot of the things that you see with CTE victims. And I will say that I don't think it's a good look for the league. I think this really does play into like a case for mental illness being a problem in the NFL. So I don't think it's good for it, but I don't think he was forthright with the Raiders, but I don't know if I would call it unethical.
I mean, same time with the like leaving team thing, it happens in basketball too. It's not an NFL. It's not an only NFL problem. It happens in MLB. Happens in NBA. Happens in all sports. Happens in soccer.
It's very common. I mean, let's not forget Carson Palmer walked away from the Bengals and $100 million. He said, "Screw it, I'll retire. I don't want to play here anymore," and he walked away for a year. So I mean, like those things happen. I don't think he was forthright with the Raiders. I don't think that he was truthful with them in dealing with them, but I wouldn't call it unethical, you know? And I think the other thing too is we'll really never know the full story, like, cause nobody's going to write a book about this or anything that's a tell-all book. And the other thing too is it's a he said, she said thing anyway.
This keeps happening and is damaging, or not only as a brand, the NFL, but also a team, and more importantly, it's fans. I don't really think it's damaging at all.
I don't think it hurts the NFL.
If anything, it puts more attention towards the NFL.
I don't think it hurts the NFL. I think it, in a weird way, it created more excitement around the NFL. I saw a lot of people excited about him going to the Patriots. I saw a lot of people upset, but still talking about the NFL because he was going to the Patriots. It makes the Patriots the biggest heels in the NFL once again. I don't think it's entertainment at the end of the day. I think the whole thing was entertaining. People enjoy drama. I don't think it's damaging to the NFL. If it was more widespread, I think it would be, but I don't think it's going to be widespread. And then he says here, next up is Odell Beckham Jr. with the watch issue. It's only going to escalate with losses that continue. What's the fix for all this shenanigans and nonsense? So
they're fining him.
Yeah, they're fining him. They're going to
really don't know. Odell Beckham Jr. wore a $200,000 watch.
Yeah,
during the game. You're not
so
supposed
weird
to wear hard objects.
Yeah.
What do they do? Fine him or suspend him?
Yeah, I don't.
And with the losses that continue, I don't think they're definitely going to win next week. I would bet my life on it that they're going to win against a Sam Darnold-less New York Jets.
Sleep it on Trevor Siemian. I don't know. I don't see it as a problem. I think wide receivers have always had big personalities in the NFL. It's just a thing. You know, you go back to Terrell Owens, Michael Irvin, you know, sometimes you get an anomaly like a Jerry Rice who was just quiet and did his job all the time, or Chris Carter or someone like that. But like these wide receivers have big personalities. People like that. That's what makes the NFL the NFL. Like, I mean, I'm one of those people who says I'm not a fan of players as much as I am a fan of my favorite team, and I'll stand by that. But at the end of the day, why you tune in on Sundays is for the personalities, man. It's like pro wrestling.
What's the difference between a watch and the club that GPP has?
Dude, I mean, I'll be honest. Once Odell Beckham Jr. came out and showed that the watch was all plastic, I was like, why is it illegal then? If it was metal, I got you. Plastic?
If anything, I feel like it would injure him more.
Probably.
Like, what if he catches the ball, bends his hand back, the watch is right there, you know?
I think it's stupid.
Mess up his hand.
I think it's stupid to wear a watch during a game. I mean, because of what you just explained.
Hey, man, maybe Andy Reid needs a watch while in the game.
He definitely does for time management purposes. Thanks for the question, Bobby, a.k.a. Ruben Jim, on Twitter.
All right.
Kidding. At Cuban Swim. That was the longest question ever.
Hey, thank you for watching the clip. If you want to check out the full version of the podcast, there should be an in-card thing around me or a link in the description Whichever one. There should be both. Have fun. Figure it out.